Welcome back, Foolish Finance Fridays. For those that joined us on the announcement of the boot camp, thank you for coming out. Those that didn't get a chance, that's because you missed it. You're not on meetup.com/women in Linux. You go there. We'll do another review of the boot camp um, probably next week. Next Friday, we'll do another one. We'll also put up the webpage for people to sign up. For those that have already shown interest, we appreciate you. We'll be individually contacting you all for the boot camp to provide uh, actually the training and so forth and get started. For those that were there that understood about uh, the other stuff we talked about that we won't be talking about on YouTube, you got to be a part of the group on Wednesdays in order to get those announcements. We'll be setting that up this weekend. I'll be inviting people, those that were on the call for the boot camp that want to be a part of that secondary group. Let us know so we can start adding you into the Slack channel. Probably more likely a Slack channel. I thought about a Discord, but I don't want to manage two different products when it comes to that. If you don't know who we are with Women in Linux, and this is Foolish Finance Friday, I said last week I was going to talk about your girl, the legend, Mary J. Blige, MJB. That's what I said. But then I didn't do all my research on it. So, but she on my list though. I'm like pocket watching with JT. She on the list. MJB is on my list. How you get married without a prenup? How you get married without a renup, Mary? Who is in your corner? Who is your peoples? Hmm? 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 So I'll be nice today. But Mary is on my list. She on my list. She made it the foolish. Yep, your auntie made it. She gotta be tired of dun 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 dun. Dun. How can I love somebody else? She gotta be tired of doing that. She gotta be tired of dancing in the boots. She gotta be tired. She gotta be tired. What's going on, Don? What's going on, Charlena? What's up? How you doing? She gotta be tired. I'm tired of looking at her. She gotta be tired. You know how tired she is? You know, all these years, we've never seen Mary J on stage with the frog. We never seen her on stage with the frog. Well, I mean, the guy from Jodeci, KC. You ain't never seen her on stage with KC, the frog. But now, in her new era, in her new after tax soft life era, she on stage with KC. Ooh yeah. I can go on. So they was like Casey was like Mary, Mary, Mary. Yeah. Love is all we need. Oh, Mary's out there. Live your life, girl. So yeah, I'm gonna get married. Yeah, I'm gonna get married. Married out here, she's like, screw that. Boy, come on up here on this stage. Get your woo yeah on. Bring your brother too. Hold the mic for your brother. Hold the mic for your brother. Oh, hundreds of millions in taxes. What? Live your life, girl. Okay. Okay. For those that are not subscribed to the channel, we see you. We know you not. We see you come every week. Why you not subscribed? One like ain't gonna hurt you. Two likes ain't gonna kill you. Go on and subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends. Last week on the other show, we talked about how the um on that show we talked about how AI is going to affect everybody. I'll be doing more of that tomorrow. We'll get more into that tomorrow. But for now, let's talk about the squeeze group. Let's talk about the squeeze group. The squeeze generation. Who's the squeeze generation? Put in the chat if you're a part of the squeeze generation. The Gen Xers. So a report came out said 80% of the Gen Xers think they'll never fully retire. Never. And that may be good news, and that may be good news for the group. That's what they say. Let's see. With Americans' overall retirement confidence at its lowest point since 2008, it's time for members of Gen X to focus on their future. I've been preaching about it all year. What you gonna do? All right, let's go. Members of Gen X may be getting close to retirement age, but they're apparently not giving it too much thought. Only 19% of those in that cohort who are now 43 to 58 think they're never ever fully retired the old-fashioned way that involves leaving their jobs and enjoying their golden years, according to the new survey from Prudential Financial. What are the other more than 80% planning to do? They're pretty much evenly split between those who say they will keep working at least part-time, basically forever, and those who say they haven't thought about retirement yet. Only 2% say they intend to worry about working because they like what they do and want to keep at it. Do you even call that retirement? I don't know if that actually qualifies, says Bob Falzon, vice chair of Prudential Financial, who oversaw the survey. All right. So 82% said they're going to work part time or unsure they will be able to fully retire. And then 40% said they're going to work part time, and 42% said it's too early to know. All right. And 2% said they just going to keep on working. And 19% said they're going to fully retire. Now I want to bet that this 82% said they say they're going to work part time or unsure. I bet you it's probably leaning towards more unsure because they probably haven't saved. Squeeze generation. They got kids and parents. They got money going out both doors and probably out of three doors for themselves, right? But the fact that so many Gen Xers plan to keep working could be seen as good news for this group. If they work longer, they may eventually save more. And with other recent retirement surveys showing that most Americans do not have enough money saved for retirement, it's likely many of them would need to just do that. The 2023 confidence survey, retirement confidence survey from Employee Benefit Research Institute found that 1 in 5 Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings. Do y'all have more than 1,000 in your savings? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat. All right. And the retirement confidence had dropped by the most since 2008. Most of that drop is attributed to younger workers rather than older ones. But Prudential survey found that 18% of Gen Xers had nothing saved at all. Nothing. And 35% had less than 10,000. Put a one if you at least got 1,000. You can at least go buy half a set of tires. Depending on the car, you can at least buy a half a set. On the other end of the spectrum, EBRI found that 30% have more than 250,000 saved, although that's heavily skewed toward those who have access to workplace savings, right? The lost generation. Hey, did y'all hear about the Gen Zers? What they call them, 13 and under. I don't. They're calling them the fatherless generation. Did y'all hear about that? They're calling them the fatherless generation. All right. It says Gen X has had some bad luck when it comes to saving for retirement. It also often gets overlooked in data because it is much smaller than the enormous baby boomer generation that preceded it, and even more massive millennial generation that follows it. So the baby boomers were having those kids too, right? We have historically seen that older retirees are more confident. Millennials and Gen X are the least confident and the most concerned, says Lisa Greenwald. Most members of Gen X do not have access to pensions or other guaranteed income in retirement, yet they are also too old to have benefited from advances like automatic enrollment into the 401k plans and automatic increases in their contributions. Gen Xers also don't expect to inherit much. Most of the massive 70 trillion wealth transfer that experts say is on the horizon is expected to flow from the baby boomer parents to the millennials. Add to the precarious future of Social Security, which is projected to run out of funds to pay full benefits when the oldest Gen Xers turn 69, and have a potential disaster in the making, right? So Gen Xers are not going to have Social Security. So that means millennials are not going to have Social Security, which means Gen Zers are not going to have it either. So don't bank on that. They receive no education and have no concept of what amount of assets they would need on their own. They don't know how to do that basic math. That's a lie. By and large, they are not well prepared. Woo! About 1 in 5 have less than 1,000 in savings. However, those with a retirement plan are most likely to have higher. Right? So they're just showing that here. Let me blow that up. Blow it up one more, a little bit more. I can't make the picture larger. But here, it looks like, and this happened over time. Less than 1,000 saved and went from 36% down to 18% in 2023. Right? And then ones that's got over 1,000 in retirement, over 250,000 in retirement, looks like 11%, and then 36%. But it looks like the sweet spot may be between 100,000 to 250 or 249. That look like the sweet spot. Some 60% have no plan, 7% have a plan. I've been working on that. I've been working on getting y'all a plan, right? I've been showing you. The time to plan for retirement is now. For those who have fallen behind working longer is one way to bolster savings, and even for those who have never participated in the 401k plan, if they keep working, they're likely to contribute to one at some point. The group we worry about the most are those who have access to a retirement plan but do not participate. They're having more issues with debt, but over the long haul, this is why y'all got to make more money. You can't get rid of debt and you ain't got no money. It just don't work that way. You got to make more money, right? Working gives them continued access to saving, which makes them more likely to end up with a confidence bucket. Another bright spot for Gen X is home ownership. Falzon says the age group has a large amount of equity built up in their homes. So while they might be short on invested retirement savings, they could potentially make up some ground later on by tapping into the value of their homes. Even if the Prudential survey found that most Gen Xers don't plan to do that yet, home equity is a primary savings route for older generations. I imagine that Gen X has less than baby boomers right now, but it's still meaningful numbers. So things aren't as bad as you might think they are. All right, so let's get into this. We're gonna hit you with petty early. We're gonna hit you with petty early. All right, so I got to do it in this one. So let me grab this right quick. And let's grab Safari right quick. All right, let's make sure sound. Oh, that don't work. We gotta make sure sound is up. Hold on. Make sure my sound up right here. Yep, here we go. And we can keep, yeah, that's fine. All right. I talked about this the other night, but you all need to see it in action. All right, let's go.
We all have dreams of how we're going to spend our retirement years. What if the state took your dream away? A 5 on Your Side WREL investigation found the Department of State treasurer overpaid and underpaid millions of dollars of retirement money for years. Who paid? Retirees now dealing with unexpected debt, and they include one woman who called Keeley for help.
There's always something to do in the kitchen.
Even in grief, Penny Glenn makes sure everyone else is okay.
Can I offer you something to drink?
She keeps reminders of her beloved husband, Joseph, everywhere, even in the place settings.
I would decorate it at Christmas.
The memories provide relief, an occasional smile.
I was with him for over 40 years.
Joe is with Penny still, only now he rests in an urn in the kitchen.
He was my best friend. He took care of me and he loved me. I don't want to cry on camera. This is difficult.
Difficult not only because of the loss, difficult because of how Penny and Glenn spent the last of their 40 years together.
I hope nobody don't never have to go through what I've been through.
Let's rewind to 1996. Joe retired. He worked for the city as a heavy machinery worker, doing the dirty work, which kept Raleigh running.
I've seen him in knee deep or more water, cold ice water, repairing water mains.
For years, the Glenns received letter after letter from the state's retirement systems division, telling them what their payout was and that it was accurate. Then in 2018, another letter, this one, shattered everything. It told the Glenns there'd been a mistake and that for 17 years, the state had overpaid them more than $241,000. And now Joe and Penny had to pay every cent back.
I read it to him.
All right. So they got overpaid $241,000 and they got to pay it back. He has now, since then, has retired. It don't look like, and it don't sound like she was working either. But let's continue.
And we broke down and started crying. Both of us. He said, baby, what am I going to do? I can't pay back $240,000. I didn't even know that they were overpaying me.
I wish I wasn't doing this interview.
State Treasurer Dale Falwell, walk me through. 5 on Your Side wanted to know how families could possibly know their payout was incorrect when they were reassured by the state that their payouts were correct.
Sure. That's a great point. But the dates that you mentioned are what we call pre-Dale, because I wasn't the treasurer then.
By pre-Dale, he means a previous administration when Treasurer Richard Moore was in office and the error occurred.
Falwell said he had no choice but to go after the money. He told us the state retirement fund is worth $114 billion. And right now, 1 million North Carolinians are on the plan. To put that into perspective, the Glenn's debt is worth about 25 cents to every person on the plan. In other words, the $240,000 is a drop in the bucket for the state. But for the Glenn's, it was everything.
I said, he won't never live to pay that back.
What did they say?
She said, well, we'll take it as long as we can.
And they did. Joe didn't hire a lawyer. He didn't look for a way out. The Glens filed for bankruptcy.
Can you think of a man at 80 years old going back to work?
Joe Glenn.
So he's 80 years old. He owed $240,000. He has worked there all his life. They've been married 40 years, and now here we are, right? Here we are. What do you do in this situation, right? Who do you lean on? Who are his friends? Who can he go to? How can he get out of it? And he didn't go fight it. He just filed for bankruptcy. He didn't go seek help. Let's rewind that. Let's go back. I think it's about right here. Let's go right here.
What did they say?
She said, well, we'll take it as long as we can.
And they did. Joe didn't hire a lawyer. He didn't look for a way out.
He didn't go hire a lawyer, and he didn't go look for a way out. And probably didn't have no money for a lawyer, to be honest. And he probably was defeated. And so, like a good wife, she followed his lead. And here we are. Let's go.
The Glens filed for bankruptcy.
Can you think of a man at 80 years old going back to work?
Joe Glenn in his 80s went to work to pay an impossible debt by delivering parts for O'Reilly Auto.
In so many instances, there will be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on any one case that we cannot collect because, the person is aged out.
They've died?
Yes.
For all of his effort, Joe managed to pay back $4,976.17 before dying in June of last year.
So he died. He only paid them back $5,000. He went back out of retirement and went back and worked for O'Reilly Parts. What skills does he have at 80 years old? What is his health like to pay back $241,000? Does he have any kids? Does he have any siblings? Aged out. Oh, yeah, sometimes they aged out, but we had to go get our money. That's what they said. That's what they said. So y'all can sit on here all day and talk about what's enough, what's not enough, what things can look like. I'm just trying to show you another side. Let's go.
Loving memory, Joseph Glenn.
But even in death, the state found a way to collect a little more. Joe's pension provided money for his funeral. It was $10,000. The state took that too, leaving Penny to pay for it herself.
Knowing that I'm not able to pay for it now, but because
The state said, we don't care. We want your 10 grand. We're going to take that too. Oh, you got some more money? We're going to take that too. If you get another lover, I'll take him too. Right? They're going to take everything. And guess who got to go to work now? Guess who got to go to work now? Let's go.
somebody else's error, that breaks my heart.
This is the man who stitched it up.
It's about taking care of people.
Ramil Ferguson. He owns RM Ferguson Funeral Home. And when he heard the story, he donated the service.
Why did you decide to help Penny?
I mean, she was willing to come here and sweep and mop and I'll come clean up. What do you need? A woman at her age should be enjoying her years, not trying to worry about paying off a debt.
It was a show of grace and kindness that Joe never lived to see.
We loved each other.
Now, we know that there are 40 other retirees who are in this very same situation. And if you're one of them, we would really like to hear from you.
This sounds so incredibly unfair. What about statute of limitations? How does the state go back decades to get this money?
You're right. In the state of North Carolina, there's typically a statute of limitations for only 3 years. So you can only go back 3 years to recoup a debt. Well, the state in this situation is exempt from it because of the way the laws are written. It's very difficult to kind of deal with this. And in any case like this, where someone's trying to take it to court, it oftentimes they side with the state.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people watching this are probably wondering about their own retirement payout. We have a way for you to go check. Just go to our website, WRL.com, and go to 5 on Your Side.
Hopefully people might recognize a problem before it gets to 241,000.
I hope this is a lesson for the department because, with Penny, that was unnoticed for 17 years, and you see how much it added up to.
Man,
It's heartbreaking.
it is. Thank you, Keely. Wonderful.
So they overpaid them by $241,000. He went back to work trying to pay it back, and he died. And now they have filed for bankruptcy. So now the question is, what money does she get to take care of herself? Where's that money coming from, and will they go after that money? He didn't go talk to a lawyer. He didn't go get any help. So now the question becomes is, should he have talked to a lawyer? Would it have made a difference? So how do you check the checker? How do you know, for those that have pensions, that your pensions are being accurately monitored, audited properly? For those of you that do have 401ks, how do you make sure that that's being monitored properly? Who are the beneficiaries on those? Check your paperwork. Check the checker. How much are the fees? You know how much are the fees that come out of that? Y'all looking a little sad out there. I can see you through the screen. Y'all looking like you ain't have to hit us like that. You ain't have to hit us like that. Oh yeah, I did. I had to hit you like that. Yes, I did. All right, so let's move on. All right. Where we want to go next? Where do we want to go next? Let's see. Let's go here. Let's go here. All right. Let's do this one. I found this one.
He said Nigeria is.
Imagine. This is a man. Scammer alert. This is a man who sold an imaginary airport for $242 million. We got one guy that passed away on $241 million. And then we got somebody over here that got away with selling an imaginary airport for $242 million. Let's get into it. Foolish Finance Fridays.
Selling an imaginary airport for $242 million. How can one even begin to imagine something like this? Many of us receive spam emails frequently, and Nigeria in particular is famous for this type of scam. You receive an email from a person who claims to be a prince, a doctor, or a bank manager, and he tells you that there is a large amount of money, and he needs your help in transferring this amount to the country. In return, you will take a large part of this amount. But all you need to do is to send a small amount in advance in order to verify your bank account before they start transferring millions of dollars to you. One of the classic scam methods from when humans started using email, but the scam that we will see today was before the internet era. Originally, these internet scammers are just rookies in front of the Nigerian king of swindlers, who we will see in today's story of
the Nigerian king of swindlers. $242 million. Let's go.
how he sold a fake airport for $242 million. In 1995, the manager of the Brazilian Noroeste Bank received a call from Nigeria. The caller on the other end was not an ordinary Nigerian citizen. This caller was the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The central bank is the highest financial organization in the country, and it is the one that controls all the banks in the country and determines the financial policies. The governor of the central bank is considered to have the rank of a minister, meaning the director of the Noroeste Bank. Thinking it was very serious that the governor of the central bank of a country.
A quick question. What do you think goes into scamming somebody on an imaginary airport? What do you have to have in place for an imaginary airport? You know what it takes to build an airport? Let's see. Let's look at that. What all you need to build an airport? Let's look at what you need to build an airport. Okay, so what are the requirements to build an airport? Larger or more modern airport facilities, on the other hand, require multiple runways of extended length, extensive terminal apron areas, and large expanses of land devoted to parking and landside access. For such an airport, a minimum of 3,000 acres is what is required. So to build out an airport, that means there was 3,000 acres that had to be that you had to have. Let's continue.
The topic is definitely important. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria started to speak and said that Nigeria is planning to build an airport in the capital city, Abuja. Abuja is one of the largest cities in Nigeria, and the number of people in it is very large. Certainly, if an airport is built in it, there will be a large movement on it. Here, the interest of the director of the Brazilian bank increased, and he began to listen more carefully. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria continued his speech. He said Nigeria is currently looking for investors to invest in the airport project, and the estimated cost is about $250 million. All of this is available to you, and we are presenting this opportunity to more than one bank around the world.
Now imagine back in the day, in 95, it wasn't no, I ain't from Mary today. I'm gonna get to her. Now imagine back in the day in 95, it wasn't no Instagram. It wasn't no pictures like that. What else? Let me think. 95. We probably barely had internet, right? People barely had computers in their home, right? They was just getting there. They weren't cheap. You got a computer, but they weren't cheap in 95. Let's get back to it.
It was as if he was saying that you need to hurry. If you do not seize the opportunity quickly, another bank may come and take it. The Brazilian bank manager was thinking of airports in large cities around the world as one of the most lucrative projects. An average size airport can return the initial investment, which is $250 million. Within a year or two, this means that this chance might be an irreplaceable opportunity. So
they said building out an airport, your return on it is $250 million. So that $250 you put in, you're going to get back. So if they did half of that, if they just put into it, they're going to get, they're more than likely they're going to double their money on the way back out.
The director of the Brazilian bank came to think a little while he was holding the phone. But the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria cut the rope of thoughts when he said, and also we will give you, as a bank manager, a special offer. You will have a commission of $10 million. Since you are the mediator who will allow this deal to take place, the manager of the Brazilian bank felt an increase in enthusiasm. He already thinks that this is a distinguished investment opportunity for the bank, but after he heard, he will take $10 million on top of it. This deal started to look even more attractive. In the end, he is not investing his money. He is investing the money of the bank's customers, the people who deposited their money in the bank. And
so he took the customer's money and invested into it, not the bank, but the customer's money.
Thing made him care less. In the end, after some back and forth, he took a bid with the governor of the Nigerian bank. He said, "Okay, our bank is going to take this investment opportunity," and started with the procedures. The director of the Brazilian bank did not know. He was not talking to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, but he was talking to a person named Emmanuel Nodi. Emmanuel did not have any business in building an airport. In fact, there was no airport in the first place. The whole situation is a lie. So who is this person, and how was he destined to pull this huge scam? Emmanuel Nodi was also the director of a bank in Nigeria, a bank called the Union Bank of Nigeria, which is a private commercial bank. It was not even a state bank, and Emmanuel was a comfortable man who had reasonable money and wealth. He had ambitions, he wanted more, he wanted millions. He started thinking about how he could get such a fortune. Hence, this crazy idea arose in his head, the idea of looking for investments to build an airport in the...
Now I want to say this. If you're gonna scam big. If you're gonna scam big. Don't be out here scamming for $1,000. Don't do it. Scam big.
Nigerian capital. Although he was a bank manager and had a strong reputation, even though this reputation was not sufficient for a great scam like this, he needed a stronger and greater reputation. So he decided to impersonate the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. His name was Paul Akuma. But the plan must be prepared strongly and accurately. He gathered a team of 5 people from the people close to him, and whom he knew, and began with them to discuss the details of the plan to attract one of the banks to invest in the fictitious airport project. This group, which was formed by Emmanuel Nodi, were all experienced in financial and banking systems, and they were working in the banking sector like Emmanuel, so they knew all.
So they already knew. We're going to finish this one up, but I just wanted to put this out here because you think this is bad, right? 242 million. This is peanuts compared to this. The CPA is indicted on $1 billion in North Texas on a tax shelter scheme. $1 billion. 242 million for an imaginary airport. Nah. This came out November the 17th of 2022. $1 billion scheme on tax shelter scheme. Let's get into it. 3 or more people now face, and let me pull this up. Shout out to Ms. Phoenix for the tech ties. What happened to the due diligence and research before investing? Hey, invest in tax shelters, the whole 9. I'm trying to tell you, right? 3 people are now face federal charges related to tax scheme that authorities say hid $1 billion in income from the IRS. Kevin McDonald and James Richardson, CPAs who co-own, I guess, Wachachi or Wachachi, I don't know, tax and accounting firm, McDonald Richardson, along with Craig Fenton, a tax manager at the firm, were indicted in connection with the case. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District Court, or the Northern District of Texas, and I got the court system in my head, announced Wednesday. The case centered around Dallas, Texas attorney Joseph Gazzara, 79, who authorities have described as the mastermind of the scheme, who faces more than 40 charges related to wire fraud, filing falsified tax returns. He pleaded not guilty to the initial court appearance. McDonald, who is also an attorney, Richardson, and Fenton each face one count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 5 counts of assisting in preparations of fraudulent tax returns, said the prosecutor, right? Gazzara charged his clients a percentage of the money they were trying to hide from the IRS. Prosecutors alleged and that the tax professionals who were part of the scheme were also compensated. Nigerian finesse god, shout out to Don Watts for the $20 super chat on the $242 million finesse guide. I'll put that in. I put it in random. No, I should put it in creating wealth. I put that story in there in creating wealth because that story get deeper. The story gets deeper. The 5 people. I should go back to it. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to go back. If you want me to go back to it. But I was building up to this one, but I got another doozy too. I was building up to this one, but I got another doozy too. All right, so 1 billion, right? So it says authorities say the people who took part in the scheme used shell companies to avoid taxes. They are accused of creating sham operating and service agreement, fake invoices, and false private annuity agreements to make the companies look legitimate. The 3 defendants from the, I'm gonna call it what you're doing firm, then helped their clients prepare fraudulent tax returns, the prosecutor said. In all, more than $1 billion was hidden from the IRS, resulting in more than $200 million in unpaid taxes, according to authorities. Today's indictments reinforce our commitment to every taxpayer to work tirelessly to identify and prosecute tax professionals who devise illegal tax shelters to evade the tax obligations of their wealthy clients. It says, if convicted, McDonald, Richardson, and Fenton, I don't know why I want to say McDonald's, Richardson, and Fenton face up to 20 years in prison for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 5 years for conspiracy to defraud the United States, and 3 years for each count of filing of false tax returns. Go back up to the title. CPAs indicted on $1 billion in North Texas on a tax shelter scheme. $1 billion. $1 billion. Right? Hold on. Let me double check my doozies here. Before we go into the next one. Let me double verify here. Hold on. Oh no, we got another one. I should have did the. Hold on. We're gonna get to that one. Let's get to this one. Because I keep a story. All right, so here. It's more. I got more for you today. Police arrest millennial behind the multi-million-dollar IRS phone scam. The IRS phone scam. Let's get into it. The article is 6 years old, but I wanted to bring it to you. A 24-year-old Indian man has been accused of being the mastermind behind those IRS phone scams. The Indian police arrested Sagar Thakkar, claiming that he managed the scam in which callers posed as IRS agents trick taxpayers out of millions. Y'all remember these? When they would call you and say, you owe the IRS, you owe the IRS, you need to pay the IRS. Y'all remember that? As part of the scheme, scammers utilize a network of call centers in India to call potential victims in the United States. Using personally identifiable information obtained from a number of sources, including social media, scammers impersonated agents from the IRS or the U.S. citizen and immigration services. Calls were typically made using voice over IP technology. They allowed the scammers to spoof the phone numbers, making it appear that the calls were coming from the IRS or other government agencies. As part of the scam, taxpayers were told to pay fake tax bills immediately or face arrest, deportation, or other legal action. So with that being said, let's take this scam into another level. Let's take this scam into another level. Let me pull this up. Let me look at it. Hold on. We're gonna take scam into another level, because I want y'all to be aware of these things, because they're out here. Let's do this one. So if they setting up call centers to call you, right? Let's look at, because this is happening.
So a couple of days
now.
ago, Google actually released a stunning new paper, which actually
Google's new Soundstorm shocks the world, right? So Soundstorm is where you can actually go back and impersonate conversations, and also incorporate, I'm sure, deep fakes. So imagine being able to fake a conversation using your voice, fake a conversation using the reflections and tones in your voice to get information and so forth. So let's take a look at this. This is all leading about talking scams today. I got a lot for you. All right, let's go. Let's go over this real quick.
Host some potentially terrifying impacts for society, but it wasn't picked up by the wider AI community since this wasn't a tool that was released, rather a demonstration of what is now capable with certain AI software. The tool in question is Soundstorm, a new AI tool that can leverage current AI capabilities to create hyper-realistic sounding voiceovers with a new sort of architecture. Now, this is very interesting because it does link to many different previous AI voiceovers that we've heard in the past, but this one is definitely striking in the terms of accuracy that we do see. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the tons of different examples that we can see and why this is possibly one of the most dangerous pieces of AI to come out, because the implications which they discuss in the paper are actually quite bad if it does get into the wrong hands in terms for wider societal impact. So let's get into this because this one is very interesting. Remember, the demo you're about to hear isn't based purely on how the voice sounds. Now, try to understand the small inflections you hear when someone is speaking. For example, the pauses, the the little things that make a voiceover human. And I'm going to show you another example from Google that demonstrate this in full effect, which they released a couple of years back.
Did you hear about Google's paper on Soundstorm?
No, I must have missed it. What's it about?
Well, it's a parallel decoder for efficient audio generation. So it can even be used to generate dialogues.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like this one was generated by Soundstorm.
Wait, what?
So what you just heard there was the official demo that they had on their research paper. Now, there are tons of more demos which you will get into, but before we do, I just want you to, pay attention to the little inflections that we hear when someone speaks, because these are the important things that determine whether or not someone interprets a voice that sounds human or not. But Soundstorm manages to capture that very, very well. So I think that it's very, very interesting as to how it does that. So let's look at some of the other things on the page and see just how realistic this stuff is. So there's going to be 3 parts to this that we need to talk about. And the first part is the dialogue synthesis. So Soundstorm, what it can really do really well, and something that I found very interesting, was that it can actually generate dialogue from 2 people talking just from around 3 seconds. Now, you might be wondering, how does this differ to 11 Labs? This actually makes it sound really, really realistic in terms of the little inflections like we talk about 4. In terms of the little inflections that we hear in the dialogue, and it sounds really realistic. So this is the text, this is the voice prompt, and then of course we have the synthesized dialogue. So what we're about to listen to is the original recording, and then you're about to listen to the synthesized dialogue, aka the AI generated dialogue. So you listen to the voice prompt.
Where did you go last summer?
I went to Greece. It was amazing.
And then what we're going to listen to now is of course the synthesized dialogue.
Where did you go last summer?
I went to Greece. It was amazing.
Oh, that's great. I've always wanted to go to Greece. What was your favorite part?
It's hard to choose just one favorite part, but yeah, I really loved the food. The seafood was especially delicious,
Yeah?
and the beaches were incredible. We spent a lot of time swimming, sunbathing, and
Now, could you tell that was AI generated? Can you tell that was AI generated? Can you tell that conversation was AI generated? Can you tell that the voice was AI generated with the ahs, the ums, the pauses, the whole nine, the questioning, like the thinking of the question and so forth? Could you tell that? Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to make you aware. But be fully aware because these things are out here when it comes to this. Let me see if I can find the AI join again. Let's go here. Hold on, let me see. That's the article. That's the original article. Let me let this play a little bit longer.
exploring the islands.
Oh, that sounds like a perfect vacation. I'm so jealous.
It was definitely a trip I'll never forget.
I really hope we'll get to visit someday.
Now, some people might think that's not impressive, but the thing is with that is that that's pretty insane. Now, I'm not sure if this is linked to Google's previous AI voiceover software in which they demoed ages ago. And when I'm talking ages ago, I think it was around 2018, which they demoed something that sounded so realistic, it genuinely freaked me out. And anyone I showed to, it freaked out. I'm going to show you a little clip of that. But when I show you a clip of that and then replay you the clip here, you're going to realize just what these implications are.
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks, great. Have a great day. Bye.
So your virtual assistant can set this up and run this for you in the background. Can set up your appointments, can even utilize your voice to set this up, can even take it one step further. Say if you needed to be, if you were smart and you were doing a phone interview, you could set up your assistants to do your phone interview based upon the question that they ask, and put your resume in there, things on your resume, and then go from there. You can probably screen initial phone calls. I would even take it one step further. How would I do this in a chat feature with someone who is online and we're doing online dating? So now, instead of me really wasting my time talking to someone, I would literally take this and scale this out and be on the phone with 5 different people or 10 different people at one time, making phone calls, asking them various questions, this, that, and the other, get my personality down. And then from there, choose whether or not I want based on that conversation, that pre-call, based on that conversation, see whether or not I want to go take it to the next level with that person. Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't I do that? Right? How can I use this to scam people? How can I use this to get money out of people? How can I use this to even take this to the next level to make money off of this? And I'm just putting this out here. We saw the $242 million that the guy got on an imaginary airport. We saw $1 billion from the scammers for fraudulent. You don't think this is going to be at least $1 trillion? You don't think this is going to be $1 trillion? You already saw the call center problem with the IRS. You saw that. You don't think scammers are already using this? You crazy. They already are. It's already reports out there of them using it already. Those phone calls that you get and people don't say nothing on the end and you start talking, I would record your voice. I would record your voice. I would record what time you answer the phone. I would record what time you don't answer the phone. I would do that. You saw that. They only need 28 seconds. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, just there you were able to see exactly how realistic this can sound when put in the right environments. Now, of course, we're going to talk about applications later, but I just wanted to show you that when you actually know the applications of this kind of stuff, it definitely is pretty crazy. So let's listen to another example right here. We're going to look at the voice prompt.
Something really funny happened to me this morning.
Oh, wow. What?
And then let's listen to the synthesized dialogue.
Something really funny happened to me this morning.
Oh, wow. What?
Well, I woke up, as usual.
Uh-huh.
Went downstairs to have breakfast.
Yeah.
Started eating. Then 10 minutes later, I realized it was the middle of the night.
Oh.
Wait, that's so funny. Something really funny happened to me this morning.
Oh, wow. What?
Well,
you can tell
I
that
woke
was
up,
synthesized.
as usual.
Uh-huh.
Went downstairs to have breakfast.
Yeah.
Now you can try and tell that one was synthesized. You could probably tell that one was synthesized. Let me pull up the web page of where they're pulling that from. Let me pull that up. Let me get out of this mode here because I wanted to pull this over. Yeah, here it is right here. All right, so here are the conversations right here that they were doing. So this is the voice prompt. Now here's the conversation. So polite. Is AI gonna always be polite? All right. See. I'm looking here. Looking down here, see if anybody had any comments. But yeah. So I wanted to bring that to you. Is I guess more on the longer lines of scam alert. To be on the lookout for that. All right, so now let's get into this. All right, older women are about to inherit a significant amount of cash. Are they prepared? Sim, done. Older women about to get some cash, shawty. They about to get the money. Y'all might want to get one of them AI assistants going for them. You like, boo, I can assist you on anything you need. Right? So let's get into it. After years of playing second fiddle to men, women are opposed to take center stage. You know why? Y'all know why women are opposed to take center stage? You ready to rub some feet? You know you can just get a foot massager. Got one downstairs. Let's go. Do you think the national debt currently 31 trillion and counting is huge? Well, there's another number. Here we go. Let me pull it up. There's another number. Almost as big. And unlike the debt, it's good news. 30 trillion. That's the level of assets that single women, many of them widows, will control by the end of the decade. That's bigger than the entire U.S. economy, which is currently estimated at a close 27 trillion. Let me go back and read that for you. For those that are in the back that couldn't hear. 30 trillion. That's the level of assets that single women, many of them widows, will control by the end of the decade. That's bigger than the entire U.S. economy, and that's currently sitting at 37 trillion. Shout out to the rich single ladies. Shout out to the rich single ladies. And they're widows. Let's not make no mistake. We already talked about the men dying off early. We already talked about that. We already talked about the second retirement. What the ladies about to do? What did old boy say? What did he say? I'm rich, bitch. Right. All right, so it's nearly triple the 2020 levels, says consulting firm McKinsey, which says that this vast wealth transfer is well underway and is occurring as women who tend to outlive men by 5 years take control of assets that have largely and traditionally have been controlled by by men. For example, in 2/3 of the affluent households, men have been the key financial decision makers, the report says. But this is about to change. After years of playing second fiddle to men, women are poised to take center, says McKinsey. All right, so they got a little thing here. It's going to be blurry on the screen. Let me blow it up a little bit. All right, that's a little better. All right, so here it looks like the share and control of share controlled by women. 43% here. From asset band from 100,000 to 250,000. But let's look at this asset class here. 5 million or more, 39%. 5 million or more, 39%. Right? And 2.5 million to 5 million or $499,999. It's 23%. But here we got some millionaires right here, right there at 39%, from 500,000 to 999,000. So some millionaires right there have been created right there. Right? So it says, how prepared are these women to manage their finances? Even though men have generally called the shots, Connecticut-based financial advisor Cheryl O'Connor thinks their spouses on their own will prove to be pretty savvy. I think their knowledge varies widely, says she tells MarketWatch, but it's safe to say that the widows today are much more knowledgeable than previous generations. O'Connor cites a recent survey of high net worth women, divorcees, and widows, and found them knowledgeable of and focus on critical issues like long-term financial planning, long-term care, and insurance. That being said, O'Connor cautions that what most women don't anticipate is how different their financial situation will be as a surviving spouse. One major misconception, she says, is women may think that when they're on their own, their finances will be simpler to manage and that they'll spend less. But in reality, she warns, inflation will increase their expenses, particularly for health care and survivor benefits on their husband pension, if there was one, and higher required minimum RMDs. Now, RMDs, Tim and I were talking about this the other day. Required RMDs, required minimum distribution, is supposed to go away in 2024. So these women may be balling after that because they don't have to take out that money, which means then that money is going to get hit with a tax bill as well too. Coupled with having to single file, they'll probably be pushed into a higher tax bracket than they filed jointly as a couple. But that's really on their financial advisor to help them lower their tax bracket, to do things to get them in a lower tax bracket. Start learning about that now, so when you get older or when that wealth transfer to you, man or woman, how you can fight against that. She suggests that widows talk to a financial planner to untangle these issues. Healthcare spending alone, which is predicted now to be healthcare alone in retirement, is predicted to be $250,000 a year. $250,000 a year can be a landmine. Fidelity Investments, the Boston-based asset management, is days away from releasing its latest healthcare spending estimate for hypothetical couple retiring at 65. Last year, it said a couple would spend about $315,000 over the remainder of their lives. Again, all out-of-pocket spending. For single women, the estimate was $165,000, given that women out usually live their spouses. Thanks for the last year inflation, these new figures are certain to be higher. O'Connor has been in the financial services industry more than a quarter of a century. Many widows who inherit assets feel guilty because the reason for this inheritance was their husband's death, she says. This guilt may cause them to make bad decisions and mismanage these assets, putting their financial security in jeopardy. Don't go with the CPAs out here making fraudulent claims, because they're going to hit you with that tax bill. The IRS don't care. All right? So find all the single ladies. They got the money. They got the money. I'm just trying to tell you. All right. Let me see this one. Nah, that ain't a good one. I don't like that one. I thought it would have been good, but nah. Let's skip that one. All right. This is going to play with people's emotions. Let's see. Y'all ready for this one? It feels like a heavy burden, but my husband asked me to sell my $14,000 engagement ring to pay off our debt. Is he asking for too much? Would you take your engagement ring and pay off your debt? Donna, don't be one of their bad decisions. Ladies, would you take your engagement ring to pay off your debt? I think most people here would probably take the engagement ring and pay off their debt. You'd be like, I'm married now. Look, who caused it? Oh no, he didn't. So y'all want to be like, F that ring, here, take that ring, let's get this debt off. We married now? I's married now, Paul. Even sinners have souls, Daddy. All right, let's get into it. My husband had a good job with a 6-figure salary, a well-known software company, but he got let go in late 2022. My husband and I have been together for 6 years. We have made some good and we have made some good and yet some bad financial decisions. The early years of our relationship and marriage were the honeymoon years. We traveled a lot. We spent a lot of money on restaurants and hotels. We had a lot of good memories from that time. The last few years, namely the last two, have given us a wake-up call. He had a good job with a six-figure salary at a well-known software company, but he got let go in late 2022. He found contract work in the interim, but it pays nowhere what he's used to earning. The first thing I got to say is, what kind of skill sets do he have where he can't go back and get this job? That's all I'm asking. He found contract work in the interim, but it pays nowhere near what he used to. I work as a freelance writer and copy editor, and I have a travel concierge business on the side. We have quite a bit of debt, but not a lot of cash. But $4,600 in cash, $9,400 on credit cards with an average APR of 21%. My husband said, "You know what's the answer to our problems? Your ring. We should sell it." He said in a lighthearted manner, but I knew at the same time he wasn't joking. And now it feels like a heavy burden to wear, especially when we have so much uncertainty and any unpredictable monthly income. Why? He ain't got no skills. He could go get a job. Yep, no emergency fund. Foolish Finance Fridays. All right. My travel concierge has not been lucrative in the last 12 months. It might be time to cut it. You need to cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Don't prices way too high. You need to cut it. He was a software engineer. You need to cut it. The prices way too high. You need to cut it. Right? He said, and our cash flow does not exactly instill us with confidence. Here's our dilemma. We've talked about our financial issues at length, and if I were to sell my engagement ring, which is approximately $14,000, we could pay off our credit card bills, get ahead on our bills, and rent for the next 6 months. It will give us breathing space. We need to get back on our feet financially and give us some time to figure out our next move. Right now, we're covering our rent, but we're living paycheck to paycheck. So should I sell my ring? Sound like she need to get a job too. I agree. Them prices way too high. You need to cut it. All right. You have a big shiny credit card payment on your finger. I feel the weight of your dilemma. There's so much status and pressure attached to diamond rings. A lot of what we believe to be requirements for the value of the engagement rings were created by jewelry, and in particular, diamond companies in the first half of the 20th century. The popularity of the diamond rings is traced back to a Diamond is Forever marketing campaign by De Beers Diamond Company, which trademarked the sentiment. It was written in copywriters Francis Giretti in 1947. Neither the diamond industry nor etiquette experts are shy about giving public advice on how much to pay for a ring when it's okay to sell it. Here's the moneyest take on that. You don't have to buy a ring at all. There's no law that says your relationship is more or less valuable because you have a diamond ring on your finger. The ring is a piece of jewelry, and you can sell it at any time you like, for whatever reason you both choose. The industry is also not shy about talking about how tradition dictates how much one should spend on a ring. I'm gonna skip that one. He said, here's the advice from one diamond company. The amount you choose to spend on an engagement ring should approximate the amount of your monthly salary times 2. By this measure, anyone who earns $2,000 a month should be looking at models in the $4,000 range. For someone $10,000 a month should be looking at rings in the $20,000 range. While she knows you love her, a tiny ring with a nearly invisible diamond is a disappointment. I'm gonna call this diamond dust. That's what Dion calls it. Diamond dust. If a man comes in and he brings you a diamond partly cloudy, slightly cloudy, diamond dust. Sim, don't get D diamond dust. She ain't gonna like that. She ain't gonna like that. She gonna have you deported. She gonna have you deported. Sam, I'm trying to help you. My brother, I'm trying to help you. Okay. So it also says that if she needs a magnifying glass to get the stone's full impact, she may even start to wonder if your feelings run deeply as you claim. Don't come with the magnifying glass like, babe, look, babe, if you hold it up like this right here, you be like, babe, if you hold it up right here, you can see the diamonds in it. You can see the diamonds in it, babe. If you see that, babe, look. Like, hold up the magnifying glass. Close one eye. Close one eye and hold it close. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. Right there. You want to see that? Hold on. Now look at it again. You see it? The truth is that all women want engagement rings of which they can be proud of. While she doesn't want the ring to send you to the poorhouse, she doesn't want her friends feeling sorry for her either. Looking like pasty, you silly. My advice, don't take that advice. It's time to divorce ourselves from our need to have big fat diamonds that cost twice our monthly salaries. To show that we have what it takes to assume our place in society, the whole notion that the diamond industry wants couples to believe that the size of the diamond equates to the depth of the husband's love, and that it may lead a woman's friends to her pity. It's ridiculous, self-serving poppycock. That's what he said, self-serving poppycock. Speaking of divorce, engagement rings are not generally considered marital property. Engagement rings are customarily purchased by one spouse and gifted to the other before getting married. Therefore, under New York's rules governing the equitable distribution of marital property, an engagement ring does not qualify as marital property that is subject to appropriation proceeding in a divorce. You can always buy another piece of jewelry. I don't believe it's healthy to put so much weight on it. Yada, 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 yada. I won't keep going on. You guys say you would give up the ring in order to pay off the debt. Now, what if he don't go back and get you another ring? Are you okay with that? If he don't go back to, what if he go get you like a band? Just a black band. What if we go to the bubblegum machine and get you one of those little bubblegum rings and be like, babe, it don't matter about the ring, but it matters about our love. Is that okay? Don't worry about the ring, babe. Just worry about our love. I'm just asking. I'm checking temperatures. I'm just checking temperatures. Where y'all at? All right. Last but not least, this is our last one. This is our last one. This I found to be a doozy. I found this to be a doozy. My brother and sister insist I share my mother's $440K estate with their 8 children, or they'll cut off all contact with me. What should I do? All right. We are 3 siblings. My brother, my sister, and I. Our mom passed away from a stroke in Arizona. Her estate went to probate court as she had no will. We were all on the same page and had no issues getting everything done. Her house was sold very quickly for $420,000. There was $20,000 left in her bank account after paying off her credit cards. Right here it talks about the brother has 5 kids and my sister has 3. I have no children, so they know they're wrong. So they want him to really divide the money up. They really want to get the larger portion of the money versus he getting this and then give him the smaller portion because he don't have no kids. All right. I assume we were splitting everything 3 ways. But then my sister-in-law informed me that the grandchildren deserve a share. My brother has 5 kids. My sister has 3. I have no children. So they know they're wrong. They are in the wrong. And they stopped all communication with me. They're stating that I should or will only get $58,000 from my mother's estate or nothing. So it's $444,000 supposed to be divided up into 3 ways. They said, well, you'll get something like $58,000, but you don't need that much money because we got kids. So it should be going more to the grandkids. The law is on your side under Arizona interstate law. Intest law. When someone dies without a will, the spouse of the deceased person will inherit everything, even if there were children. If there are children but no spouse, the children will inherit everything. The law does not mention grandchildren, but if there were no children living, grandchildren would be the next in line to inherit. Your siblings are leveraging their relationship with you and your access to their children as a way to force you to reduce your inheritance from $147,000 to $58,000. They're putting a price on good relations continuing, and the price is $89,000. It's unfair and unethical to force you to share your inheritance with their children. The 8 grandchildren should inherit from their parents, not you. The rules in test inheritance only apply to estate assets that are subject to probate. Stated differently, the rule does not apply to non-probate assets or trusts. So before discussing who gets what from an intestate estate, we need to define the what. What assets make up this estate? Non-probate assets include those owned by the joint tenancy with the right to survivorship or bank. Investment or life insurance accounts where there is a listed beneficiary. Unbeknownst to many in Arizona, bank accounts that are owned by 2 or more individuals are automatically deemed to be joint tenancy with the right of survivorship. Of course, the irony is you should never have children, and should also die, you should never have children, and should you also die in test. These nieces and nephews will inherit your estate, either indirectly by inheriting from their parents, who will inherit your estate, or directly if your siblings died before you. So by isolating you now, they risk provoking you into making a will, disinheriting all of them. Follow your gut. Do what you genuinely believe is the right thing to do, and not what you feel pressured into doing. Sometimes when we listen quietly, the answer finds us. Pay attention to how the 2 options make you feel in the pit of your stomach. For what it is worth, I don't believe acquiescing to your siblings, acquiescing, that's what it is, acquiescing. I always get that word wrong. To your siblings' demands will turn this toxic situation into a healthy one. They are who they are, and $89,000 won't change that. So are you gonna give up your $89,000 to the grandkids? To the kids. I saw everybody here said F them kids. F them kids, we ain't doing that. That's what I saw. I think everybody was pretty on board with me with that one. Like, man, y'all ain't got to give up nothing. Y'all going about your business. All right. So before we get out of here, I want to put something on your mind. Two major things. How will AI predict your debt in the future? And how will AI predict homelessness as well? So there's a big thing, a big research going on about AI and Black homelessness and AI and debt. And I just want to put that on your mind, because you may find yourself on Foolish Finance Fridays and washing up in the cemetery if you don't get your debt in a way. And also, it's also shaping how people market to you, what they market to you, what programs they market to you as far as housing, what programs they market to you as far as availability to enter into some of those credit cards and so forth. Now, we've already seen how AI can take your voice. We can have conversations, make appointments, and so forth. But now imagine AI in underwriting and how you look to AI as far as a bias based upon your social media, based upon your spending habits, based upon the people you hang out with as well. Because in your social media, you got faces. Somebody can go grab and make a correlation between those faces and so forth and so on, and go from there. There's a video. Let me see if I have it. I just want to put that on your mind, how AI can shape how people look at you and how people present different programs to you. Let me see. Let me see if this is it right here. Yeah, that's one of them. But let me do this one. I just had it. Where'd it go? All right here. Okay. So this is just a view, right? For now. But imagine this is just insurance. All right. But now let's take it one step further with AI and loans and underwriting. So let's get into this. That may not be it. Let me look and see. Oh yeah, that's not it. Let me look down here. There was a video. Oh man, I don't want to read it. I wanted to show it to you. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to read it. Hold on, let me see if it gets through this ad real quick. Let me read the comments while it gets through this ad real quick. What's going on, Queen Lee? Should have placed those siblings share in a trust for the nieces and nephews. Okay, let me see. Is this it right here?
Mortgage and insurance companies have started to.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is.
Artificial intelligence as a way to streamline the underwriting process. But our next guest claims that historical discriminatory lending practices are still an issue, even with those AI systems. For more on this, let's bring in University of New Mexico Associate Professor of Law, Sonia Rankin, and Yahoo Finance's Rhonda Lee, who covers real estate for us. Thank you both for being here. Sonia, I want to start with you. I guess the problem is, if the data that you're putting into the AI, that you're feeding the AI reflects discrimination, then I guess you can't sort of get rid of that bias. Is that the idea?
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's this word we use in tech, garbage in, garbage out. If you're not careful and carefully monitoring the data that you have coming in, well, any kind of manipulation or things you do to the data are going to always be based on this foundation that it was bad information to begin.
So the question is, what does your data say about you? If somebody was feeding AI data about you, what does it say about you? Something to think about. What does your credit profile say about you? What does your on-time payment say about you? What does your spending habits say about you? Don't think that your banks, your Wells Fargo, all of those banks are not using AI to look at how they promote to you, how they partner with other companies and promote things to you, your eligibility into things, your wealth access, the whole nine. And also, I'll next week for Foolish Friday, I'm gonna do Mary J. Blige first. I swear I'm gonna do Mary, and then after I plaster Mary all over across the screen, we're gonna get into AI and Black debt and how that looks. The prediction of Black people and homelessness, and AI. That's a huge thing. And also the prediction of insurance as well, but we got a little part of it here. Let's go.
And we consider racial bias and historic racial discrimination in the United States to be part of that garbage in.
Hi, Sonia, it's Rhonda. So one of the things we want to talk about is redlining. We've always talked about redlining in housing, and even though redlining was outlawed, there's still other ways where we want to use the term race proxy. So like zip code data that is typically used to determine, desirability of homes, flood zones, but also due to historic redlining in housing, how that data, you talked about codifying racial bias. How does that work?
Absolutely. So if you were to just pick any neighborhood, pick any zip code, it is not by happenstance that the people who live there are there. In fact, it was legally required for certain people to be allowed into certain neighborhoods or barred and banned from certain neighborhoods, whether because of race, because of religious practices. Some of these would be actually codified into law. If you even look into some housing properties, you'll still find that there are historically built in. This property must not be owned by certain people of certain racial backgrounds. Well, when you understand that those are all of the data points that come in, that's what's happening with the AI. The AI to us, now to you and I, we're looking at it and we'll say, oh my goodness, this is racially discriminatory practices. But to the AI, it's just zeros and ones. It doesn't understand that when there are certain codes or covenants or certain people that live in certain zip codes, or when there's a person who applies for an application, they're not looking and saying, oh, Sonia, Black woman is interested in this option. What they're looking at is 023011. What do we do about it? And where do we put it? And it doesn't understand that everything that we have going on in the United States, particularly as it relates to race and to housing, to historical things like redlining, are all based on certain practices. And it's just going to continue to exacerbate and codify what we already know to be historically racially motivated data points.
Another layer to this as well is what goes into somebody's credit score even before they're starting to apply for some of the larger purchases that they would like to make that are going to give them equity over an extended period of time. How are we seeing changes in credit scores and how those are actually calculated? Also, kind of transitioning through to where even the lending practices are also being changed to really reflect the modernization of the society that we live in.
So that's a great point. When we start to think about credit scores, what is being used to determine my credit worthiness? Well, there's things like credit-based insurance scores. There are numbers that are used and based off of geographic location, home ownership, motor vehicle records. And we understand that all of those things are historically going to be based on places like where someone goes shopping, right? How many times has my credit card been swiped in area codes or zip codes that have lower socioeconomic conditions? The idea that I can be penalized somehow for looking for discounts on my groceries or on products somehow playing its way into my ability to get a mortgage is really some of the troubling practices that we see. So even though there are some great things that AI can do, automating, just these tasks that can slow down our actuarial persons that have to make these determinations, the problem comes is that when we are in such a quest to speed it up, that it's starting to skim over and gloss over the things that people would look to and spot and know that we have had to set aside a number of legal decisions to ensure that there are not these discriminatory practices going forward.
Sonia, one of the things that I want to bring us back to is that we have had traditionally where recently during the housing boom, a huge increase in the denials within Black and Hispanic homeowners trying to refinance. One of the things that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said that companies are using, because they're required to tell a homeowner why they've been denied, they're now saying, oh, we can't give you a reason because the AI algorithm told us to deny this person, or the algorithm's proprietary. This is kind of what we're looking.
And that's what I was getting to. The AI is making the decision to deny you, right? Which you're gonna start finding that people are not gonna be going based like I say, what does your credit profile say about you? What does your social media say about you? What does your purchases say about you? Like those things are gonna matter even more so now, because they're gonna just use your data against you. It's not gonna be, well, this person was nice, they look like they're doing X, Y, and Z, but that's not gonna happen. So here.
Yes, AI is good, but when companies are using AI as a reason to justify discriminatory practices, what do we do to fix this?
So there tends to be this practice, you'll see this in advertisement, of kind of saying, hey, we sprinkled AI on it. It's all better. It's a good thing there's AI applied. It has removed the discrimination. But in reality, all it is doing is masking the fact that we don't know. We don't know where the AI used in that one mortgage lending company's app software went to go get its data. Was it searching Reddit? Did it start to make these false connections between?
See, did it search Reddit? That's what I'm saying. Your online profile, your Reddit, your Instagram, your Facebook, all this stuff is showing who you are. And based upon that, I could deny you for this house. Oh no. They was just out with it. They was out doing hood rat shit with their friends this weekend. Nah. Deny that. Deny them. They can't. Nah. Cause she gonna be having house parties. Deny him. He gonna be having the bros over. Nah. He like to ride motorcycles. What's his favorite thing to look at? What's her favorite thing? Nah. Based on AI, we not gonna let you into this neighborhood. You gotta pass a check, a social media check, to live in this neighborhood. Watch.
Muslim woman with negative connotations and start to add those into determinations. Now, we already know that there are the basic words that won't be included in an application, right? That will have equal protection, constitutional protections added to it. But we do know that there are lots of proxies for race. A person's zip code can be a proxy for race, where they work, the kind of lending places, all kinds of details, even looking at the Internet of Things, what times I enter and exit my home that my Nest has been calculating. Where has Fitbit been marking I've been for the past 5-10 days or weeks?
See, when I enter in and out my home, are you leaving to go to work on time? Are you always on vacation? How often are you working out? Where you working out at? Who you working out with? How often you sending text messages? So everything is full gang.
all of these kind of products are collecting a story about us, and much of that story will be connected to our race, our culture, our gender, and our lifestyle practices.
And a lot of time, we're not even fully cognizant of all of that being collected, certainly. Thank you so much for being here. Sonia Rankin, University of New Mexico, Associate Professor of Law, and Yahoo Finance's Rhonda Lee. Thanks to you both.
All right, that was it. That is it. I just want to show you this, and I'll talk about it next week. I want to show you this, and I'll talk about it next week. I don't know if y'all ever seen this article here. Machine bias, the software that is used across the country to predict future criminals, and is biased against blacks. All right, I'm gonna just roll down here. We just gonna look at a screenshot. It says Vernon Prater, 2 armed robberies, one attempted armed robbery, and subsequent offenses, 1 grand theft, is a low risk at a 3. But Breisha Borden, high risk at an 8, 4 juvenile misdemeanors, and there's no subsequent offenses. And how AI is going to be used against you, or could be used against you, just based on really just race, really, right? So when I talk about the homelessness, I'm talking about how the bias in underwriting in AI could have you, without you knowing, on Foolish Finance Fridays, because you could be homeless. And you didn't know that you had all these things stacked up against you. You didn't know that you had these things that were looking at every single move you make, from you using the Fitbit, to your heart rates, to your movements, the whole 9. I'm just trying to put you out there and get you in the mindset of thinking about the moves that you make could determine your wealth in the future. The moves that you make could determine your wealth in the future, right? And I'll talk about this next week. But I hope y'all enjoyed the show. You got decisions to make. Don't get caught out there on Foolish Finance Friday. Don't be Mary J. Blige at 50 something with your boots on and your hat and your go get it girl outfit dancing. I love Mary. Like, I play Mary to death. I have Mary catalog. You can't tell me I don't love Mary. You can't tell me I don't love Mary. You just can't. Ain't no way. Can't tell me. You can't tell me live your life, girl. Can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. You don't know me like that. I love Mary. Live your life, girl. I'm with it. However, to be $100 million in debt and no reading up, and you got to get back out here and perform, it's a lot. She gonna have to hit some more albums. I know she tired. I'm tired of looking at her. I'm gonna drag Mary to the gods. She is not exempt from the dragon. She is not exempt. And if it was me, I would expect for you to do the same thing. If it were me, Sugar Honey Iced Tea, I would expect for you to drag me. If I was out here not without a reading up, how can I love somebody else if I don't get a renup. I can't. I'm gonna have to get a renup. I can't. You wouldn't. You would have not got married without. No, I wouldn't have got married without. All that loves, all them cries. Share my world. No. That's what she did. Share my world, don't you leave. She believed them songs that she was singing way too much. No, Mary didn't have a little lamb. Mary didn't have a little lamb. But yes, I wanted y'all to have that information today. Colin Evelyn, you said how many decades and not enough financial education in the music industry or life in general? Oh yeah. And then not only that, I mean, if we really want to look at it like from a renup, that's what Medea says on. That's what Tyler Perry say when Medea is talking to renup. When we're looking at this, right? We also have to look at the fact that with AI and your credit profile, what does that say? How people lend, what loans you get approved for, AI automating underwriting, no human consideration there. So, I just want y'all to be mindful of these things. And then, like I say, every man and every woman need to have a renup. I don't care if you don't have nothing but a 1/4 acre of land. Put it in the renup. Yeah. I don't care if you came in the game and you meet somebody and you like, all I got is $10,000 in the bank account over here. Put it in the renup. I'm just trying to tell you. All right. Foolish Finance Friday is over. Don't become a story on the show. We'll see y'all in the morning.